Hello, I'm Xbox and this is QnA Saturday, a weekly series I run on my channel, answer your questions that have been asked over the past week or so on the channel. However, this is actually going to be a Minecon special. So Minecon just happened, it's a once-a-year event, and so many things were announced, and so many people have questions about little minute variations of this and that weren't answered in just a 90-minute show, and that's why I figured I'd answer all of the questions that you do have about Minecon in today's video. I know I'm like half a week late, but we've been going through so much of the news that I just wanted to get this out there and let you know all of the answers to the things you've been asking after all of that news has now been absorbed. So please do like it if you do like it, because it helps out the channel a lot. Let's know you do like QnA Saturday and do like this Minecon special. But with that said, let's get very straight into the very first question, which comes in from Tyson Angeles, who says, do you know if the update will be added to the last gen consoles? Jen said all Minecraft platforms. So yeah, the thing about this is where a lot of people are kind of getting controversial is because if you go back and watch that original video, right, I shared that Jeb said it will be coming out for all platforms at the same time. He actually, just before he says that, he's talking about how the Bedrock is up to date with the you know, the Java now, so they can release things across both editions at once, and therefore you might assume that by all editions he just means all Minecraft platforms that are Bedrock or Java. But to me that doesn't make too much sense. But even if you do interpret it that way, because again it's fine if you want to, then even if you do interpret that as saying, oh yeah, it's going to be coming out for Bedrock and for Java at the same time, then the console edition is presumably going to follow not too far behind, because usually the only reason console edition hasn't been updating the same time as the Java and the Pocket edition is because it's been working on stuff from behind. You know, the console started like 2 years behind the PC version, or it got to 2 years behind, and it's been working up that gap and working out updates from before the PC. But because you know, we're now in this stage where the console has caught up the PC, it means that presumably, unless they're working on nothing for the next few months, or they're only working on minigames, presumably they're going to be working on this update at the same time we see it in snapshots, because they've said before 4J Studios has a really close link with Jeb directly. You know, the head of 4J Studios development, Paddy, and you know, Jeb, they actually speak really regularly about how the game's going to work. They talk about like the way they want combat to work. They talk about all these things in great detail. Jeb even goes to 4J like you know, a couple of times a year to speak directly in person, and this makes me think that they're going to be working on this update at the same time. So even if it doesn't come out the exact same day, even if it doesn't somehow come out the exact same week, which I imagine would be their plan, I imagine it'd be coming out not too long afterwards, not months and months like we're used to. It'd be at the very most like a few weeks, and that's why you can expect the aquatic update for all Minecraft platforms, including the 360, the PS3, the PS Vita, the Wii U, and any platform that runs Minecraft that isn't the Xbox One. So with that said, let's move on to the second question, shall we, which comes in from Joe P. Cool 14, who says, we've had issues with the past few updates not changing the way we play the game in a meaningful way. Is this update really going to change the game in a big way, but in a way that the majority of the community likes? So yeah, bear in mind that on console it's not been quite so controversial. People loved the update that changed the world. People loved the update of that. I think they're bundling the updates together on console a lot better than they did on the PC, because to this day a lot of people still don't play anything beyond even 1.7 on the PC. You know, 1.9, okay, there's the combat. People don't even play 1.8 because they're like, oh yeah, well, I mean, it added blocks to the underground that we don't like. And my point being here is there's a lot of, you know, like PC users tend to get this kind of stuck in the thing where they don't want too much change, or again, that's not actually what they're saying, but you know, in some sense, that's what the developers hear from the PC guys. But on the console, that's generally, you know, not the case, which is why as console users, we generally want more updates. We just want to experience more content, and I think this update will be the best opportunity for that. Why do I think that? Well, every other update, they have to consider how they're changing the game already. When they add parrots to the jungle, that's kind of changing the existing jungle balance in a way. When they add igloos, or when they add different villages, or when they add polar bears, it actually changes it, or yeah, strays and husks too. They change the game in a way that some existing players won't like, because, you know, you might only play in deserts or ice biomes. And my point being is the existing, you know, updates had to be really kind of toned down, I think, at least maybe consciously, maybe unconsciously, but it's something that seems to have happened regardless. And I feel like the next update doesn't have to do that, because it's focusing on the water. So right now the oceans in Minecraft, they are dead. Even water as a whole, it's used as like a transport method, and sometimes use infinite sources to put yourself out from fires. And it's not, water isn't really used that much in Minecraft, which means they're essentially going from the scratch, they're re-changing it, and they're making the ocean an exciting part of Minecraft. And given the oceans are something like, you know, 1/3 of your Minecraft world, that is really exciting, because it means they can change so many crazy things. So for instance, they're making items float on water, they're making items able to get through water gaps, they're removing all these like random like floating gap things. They're going to make like underwater potentially brighter in some cases, so you can build under there. They're going to make it so you can have aquariums. There is so many uses, and that's before we dive into dolphins and new fish and coral reefs and the new, you know, coral blocks. And basically this update should fundamentally change the way you interact with around 1/3 of your Minecraft world, and they don't have to worry about existing players there, because let's be honest, no one's really building that much underwater right now, which means hopefully we can get one of the better updates, and potentially one of the bigger updates too, which gets me excited personally, and I spent too long talking about that, but I'm really passionate about the aquatic update, okay? So let's move on to the second question, third question even, which comes in from Mr. Muss, who says, do you think the Super Duper Graphics texture pack will come to... Oh, wait, it's not a texture pack, it's a graphics pack, but will come out when the beta together for Nintendo Switch will come out. So, yeah, basically both these things have been delayed to 2018, and they've both been delayed at pretty much the same time. It was gonna, be there just after launch for the Xbox edition, and then it was gonna be there, November, then December, and now it's gonna be 2018, and this is roughly what's been happening with Nintendo Switch. Will be coming out at the same time as Xbox. Oh, you have to delay it a little bit, like a couple of months or weeks or something like that. Oh yeah, but now we have to delay to pretty much the end of the year, and now all of a sudden it's 2018. So I imagine there must be some link between the two. Maybe they intend on selling disc copies of Nintendo Switch with the Super Duper Graphics pack, and that's why they delay at the same time, or maybe it's just a coincidence, but I think they will be coming out very similar times. So if you are playing Minecraft on the Nintendo Switch and you're excited for your game to look amazing, then you will have that sometime soon. So let's move on to the fourth question, which comes in from SuperStanks123, who says, what combat changes was Jeb talking about? I don't remember any combat changes that they talked about. So yeah, Jeb actually said, again, like a week before Minecon, don't worry, in a week we'll reveal more about the combat changes, and unless he was talking about the Trident, which admittedly is a pretty big combat change, you gotta bear in mind, when it comes to land fights, this Trident might be a serious contender for like best weapon. Again, we don't know yet the damage it does. If it does 4 damage, it's garbage. If it does 8 damage, then it's the best weapon, So it really comes down to how that's implemented, and I don't think Jeb knows for sure how he's balancing that. But the combat changes that Jeb was talking about on Reddit, as far as we can tell, again, this is like, I hope he's wrong on this. I imagine he's wrong, but what we know so far, and what the Minecraft community as a whole pretty much knows, is that the combat changes are going to be basically reverting 1.9 dual wielding to being kind of only for torches like it is on Bedrock. And this means that we won't ever get the dual wielding where you can have a torch in one hand and a thing in the other. And also, they're going to make it so shields aren't holdable in the offhand. Instead, to activate a shield, you just walk backwards, or you can't like left-click to use shields. Basically, they want to make all of these things kind of similar across all platforms, and that is going to change combat, but not in the way that people want. So, yeah, they're going to make it so combat is less reliant on having 2 weapons. Instead, you have 1 weapon and potentially a shield, or potentially a map or something like that. There's no longer going to be like Ender Pearl one hand, sword other, or potion one hand, sword other. They want to remove that dual functionality, which is weird. They're taking the part of, new combat people didn't like, they're ignoring that, and they're taking the part of new combat people did like, the dual wield slot, and they're saying, yeah, that's probably what people hate about it, which is weird to me, but maybe it works out in the end, but that just seems kind of strange if you ask me. So, yeah, let's move on from that to the fifth question, which comes in from IDanteXD, that's an interesting name, who says, will there be a cape for Minecon Earth? Sadly, this Minecon Earth, because it was a stream and not a physical event, and because there was no really real way to tell who watched, I think what they should have done is had a poll on their website and made that poll like give you a cape when you voted for it, so you'd be like, I voted for Mob B and I got a cape for that. But yeah, there's no cape this year because they couldn't do one because it's a digital event. They couldn't work out a way to do it in time, and that's a shame. It means the last Minecon cape ever will probably be 2016's one, but still, again, if you want to use a Minecon cape, you could probably, I don't know, like use one of the old Minecon skins. Again, it's not ideal, but I'm just saying there is no Minecon cape this year, which again, kind of sad, but that's just that's what happens when you go to a digital show, right? So next question comes in from Candy, who says, will there be sharks? And we haven't had sharks announced yet. However, bear in mind, Jeb didn't know which of the 4 mobs was going to win the mob contest when he prepared that reveal gameplay before we knew which mob was going to win. So the reason I mentioned that is because I assume most people thought mob A was going to win. I was really kind of like, mob A, B, and C was what it came down to. I thought C was most likely, and then probably A second, and then B third, and then D was just way out there nowhere. So it was really surprising when A got knocked out at first and, didn't really go anywhere, which means that I think there is some decent chance that because we don't have Mob A, we'll get Sharks instead, or some form of equivalent, because, again, they can't just add Mob A anyway, and instead a cool underwater fear to go looking for would be Sharks, right? So yeah, I'd love to see Sharks, or, just some form of aggressive mob down there, and I think we actually might see them. I'd say it's one of the most likely things, because we don't have Mob A, there's a space in the ocean for new hostile mobs, because Guardians can't go anywhere, and that'd be pretty interesting to see. So let's move on to the next question, which comes in from JBlitz, who says, now that it's happened, how do you feel about Minecon Earth? Do you prefer the old style, or is this one just as good? Then brackets, hashtag QnA, because of course you have to do the hashtag. So you don't really, by the way, don't do hashtags in the comments. They're still banned from the channel because you can't ban links without banning hashtags. Just keep that in mind. Don't do hashtags in the comments. It automatically flags your comment or something. Anyway, with that said, let's talk about your question, which is, do I prefer Minecon Earth or do I prefer the physical Minecon? So the thing is I feel like as an event for me personally, I really enjoy the Minecon events because I could meet people, could meet fans, could, like sign a thing for them or talk to them about, updates or this or that. However, when it comes to the Minecon Earth show. I had a lot of fun streaming that. I thought it was interesting. It was like condensed Minecon. I feel like maybe 90 minutes was both too long and not long enough at the same time. There was like 15 minutes of, or like maybe 25 minutes of moving charitable of stuff actually going on, and then there was like a few minutes of skits, and then it was like, how about we show you a trailer for the Minecraft Mattel TV show? And then it's like, oh, an Adventure Time too. Actually, there was an Adventure Time TV episode. I'm sure that's great. But there's a lot of things where it's just like, I'm not sure what's going on here. Then they had YouTubers, but in the most like weird, scripted, forced way. And you know, the thing about YouTubers is that we're not scripted people. You know, we're like real human beings. So to have them on there like that was like a bit of a strange thing. And yeah, I feel like Minecon Earth is a really cool idea. A part of me would prefer a physical Minecon, but I think now they're making the Minecraft events official. So if you want to go to a Minevention or a Mine Fair, I'll probably go to a Mine Fair at some point in the next year. You know, then you can do the physical thing, and again, that's maybe a good compromise. And given that we got to see Jeb doing 15 minutes of just like amazing thing, then it's, you know, kind of about the same there. So do I think it's just as good? I think it is just as good. I think it's different good, and I think it was a lot better than I was expecting. So yeah, I guess I'm on board with it. Let's move to the next question though, which comes in from Draco Lee, who says, why do you think there were no console announcements, and what do you think of the short Minecon livestream instead of the location Minecon? So pretty much like half the questions were actually saying like, what do you think about the new Minecon? And I liked it. I thought it was good. A lot of people are like, oh, it's cringe con because they're doing this, and you know, clearly that's because they want to aim some of their humor. I don't think they should do that. Like, rather than like admitting, like saying out loud like, oh yes, we're clearly only aiming for kids below 12 who will laugh at this terrible, you know, like, it's not even a joke. It's like, you know, like it's the thing where you lie to people, but it's funny like in a kids show, and it's like, oh, there's got to be like 8-year-olds cringing at this, being like, oh, my 5-year-old brother finds this funny and not me. So my point being is I feel like they shouldn't do that, because they should admit, rather than saying like, oh yeah, now a lot of kids play Minecraft, say Minecraft is for all ages. Don't say, oh yeah, well I guess the kids are where the money's at, so let's focus on that. I don't quite like that thing in the Minecon livestream, but I thought the content, if you ignore like the questionable jokes and you go into the actual content of it, you know, there was some stuff that made me laugh, there was some stuff that I was like, wow, that's impressive. I thought it was a good show, all in all things considered, and I guess I'm looking forward to next one, which will probably also be a digital one. But let's talk about the no console announcements. Why was there no console announcements? I guess that the console edition doesn't know what it's announcing yet. So again, usually at Minecon physical locations, I guess we have enough time that console can, you know, have a whole thing dedicated to them. But in this case, it's like, oh yeah, there's a PC update coming out, and then that'll probably come out for console too. I don't know, I feel like the lack of console stuff was kind of weird, truth be told. Maybe they don't want to talk about the console edition, because you gotta bear in mind, even the Java edition was only spoken about at the end there. For most of the time of that, for most of that whole entire show, they're just showing off Minecraft Bedrock. All the minigames of Minecraft Bedrock, all the mashup pack stuff, Minecraft Bedrock, all the server stuff, Minecraft Bedrock. That's the edition of the game they want to set as Minecraft now. You know, it's Minecon, Minecraft convention, and it's all focused around that edition, which is interesting, but I guess that's what they're doing there. So yeah, let's move on to the 9th question, shall we, which comes in from Chase Al-Habshi. So Chase Al-Habshi says, will I have to have Xbox Live for Minecraft on Nintendo Switch? So the answer to this question is yes, interestingly enough. I have no idea how Xbox Live on a rival, you know, platform is going to work. Like, you sign into your Nintendo ID, then you sign into Xbox Live. Maybe they'll just allow you to link your Nintendo ID to your Xbox Live. Again, we don't know about that entirely. But yeah, will they have to have Xbox Live and Minecraft Nintendo Switch? And the simple answer is yes, you will. And it's going to be the weirdest thing in the world. You don't have to pay for Xbox Live Gold though. You only need Xbox Live Gold on the Xbox. Again, it's interesting that they want the Xbox One to be the most expensive place to play Minecraft, but that's how it is right now. If you want to have Minecraft Nintendo Switch, you will need to have Nintendo Switch Gold, or whatever it's called, you know, their paid profile platform, and that will be happening next year, early 2018. So let's move on to the final question, shall we, which comes in from Mr. Never, who says, QnA, what is your favourite thing about Iceland? I'm going for Christmas. So my favourite thing about Iceland, I said I went like a week and a half ago now, I think it is. My favourite thing about Iceland was the fact that everything is covered in snow. I love snow. I got to experience it like 3 times in my childhood, and just every time it's amazing. You know, you wake up, there's snow everywhere, and you're like, yeah, I don't have to go to school now. And I mean, it's also kind of fun to play, but mostly the fact that there's no obligations. But I think just going into snow is just this amazing thing. There's something just amazing that it's like, you know, soft and fluffy, and anyway, my point being, I love snow, and there's snow everywhere in Iceland, and it feels like, even though I stayed in the very heart of the biggest city on the island where most of the population lives, it still felt like a tiny town, like, you know, one of those scenes in movies where everything's just covered in snow. It was really, really cool. I loved Iceland, and if you go to Iceland, you'll probably experience it more. If you're going for Christmas, then it's going to be like, you know, like -10 degrees on average, so I guess you will melt and die, or the opposite of melt and die. I guess you'll freeze to death and die, but that's okay because it'll be snowy while you do that. So yeah, that's the answer to your question. Hopefully you all enjoyed this week's Q&A Saturday. Like if you did like it, because it helps out the channel a lot. Let us know you do like the Minecon special. Share if you really liked it. Subscribe around here with notifications turned on, because there's going to be a lot more news coming out before the end of the year, I have to imagine. And also, just keep in mind, before we go, if you want to leave questions for next week, it's going to be like one of these mixed ones, so leave questions about Minecraft updates if you like. You know, the Ocean Aquatic update, I guess, is the big one. But also, if you want to leave personal questions, you probably have a better chance of being answered, because, again, like, whenever I talk about updates, obviously 90% of the questions will be about that, and given that it's like a 50-50 split, if you want to have a better chance of being answered, then the best way is to ask a question about anything personal / about the world / about life / the universe. So there you go, pro tips with Toy Cat. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it, because I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.